Oh, hey guys, what's up? It's Adam here, aka Anti-Cena Guy. Uh, Believe it or not, some of the people watching this video right now have a lot in common with me. In fact, we've all got a lot in common with each other when it all comes to bad taste in movies. Have you ever watched a horror movie that is so forgettable because of all the reasons of making it such a fucking bullshit movie? This is it. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, the next generation, the next beginning, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is technically the fourth one in the franchise. And I can't even believe that this movie is part of the franchise. I can't even fucking believe that this movie even has an existence. I remember I used to own this movie on DVD years ago. Don't know where the fuck it's gone now. I think I gave it away to a friend. And then when my friend saw it, he basically gave it away to a charity shop. This movie, the very first Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out in the 70s, basically started a whole new category in horror that we'd remember forever. The leading villain, Leatherface. Very sadistic, evil, twisted guy, basically with no soul. We're talking about a guy that takes skin off people's faces. We're talking about a guy that slices people up with a chainsaw. How the fuck did he come from a unique, disturbing horror villain all the way to something that we see in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4? A fucking pussy. That's what Leatherface is in this fucking movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. He's a complete fucking pussy. Or is he homosexual? You know, what the fuck is he? I'll get to that point in a minute, but first of all, I just want to explain some things real quick about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. I've said this in part 1, part 2, part 3, but now I'm saying it again in this movie, and this is the last fucking time. Because I don't plan on going any more further now with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. No, I'm not going to review Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Next Beginning. No, I'm not going to review the remake. This is where it ends. We all have turning points, everybody, where we say enough's a fucking enough. I wasn't a big fan of 2, I wasn't a big fan of 3, but this one's fucking abysmal. In fact, abysmal isn't even too much of a good fucking word to describe this movie. I remember back in the day, I was absolutely gobsmacked when I absolutely saw this movie for the first time. The first one I can watch all day, every day. Made in the 70s. It was gory in some scenes, but you didn't need the gore to make the movie scary. You could tell the atmosphere absolutely stunk of shit. You know, with the dirty atmospheres, with the bones made, the furniture made out of bones. You know, there was no booming music shoved down your fucking throat like shovels of shit. You know, it was a terrifying movie, the first Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film was. Portrayed by the late, great Gunnar Hansen, who was no longer with us, God bless his soul. But what he must have thought, after seeing part 4 for the first time, thinking, what the fuck have you done to my character? This Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, it doesn't even feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It felt like some sort of rejected horror movie that they left sitting on the shelf for fucking years to come. Due to complete fucking diarrhea it was. Now, people say that in number 2, Leatherface became a pussy in part 2. I think that's the wrong word. Alright, I'm not a big fan of part 2. But I'll agree when people say that Leatherface become more of like a comedian in part 2. Because number 2 is like a black comedy. Alright, but still he had his moments of gore, he had his moments of twistedness, all that kind of shit. But I don't want to get into too much about Leatherface in part 2 because I'm not a big fan of the character. But one thing that he's not in part 2 is a fucking pussy. Number 3 was more sinister. I get that, but I don't agree with the movie itself. But this film, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, I don't see any signs of, you know, sinister in him. I don't see any signs of fucking sadisticness in him. He is a fucking pussy with a capital P. Pussy. Let me rephrase that. Capital P, capital U, double S, Y. Pussy. Even if I can't spell. Bottom line is, this movie is fucking trash. Okay, this movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. Let me get into some details. Matthew McCarthy and what's the name? Zini Zalawaga, 2 top actors apparently, started off this movie before becoming major stars apparently. And apparently neither of these actors wanted this film to be released when their budget $600,000. Fucking hell. $185,898 in the box office. Explain that. It was released on March 12th of 1995, South by Southwest, but got released on August 29th of 1997, limited. I mean, this film, right off the bat, when it begins, it's like an abandoned prom night movie. Because when the film opens up, it takes place on 1994 of May, introducing these 4 teenagers, Jenny, Sean, Heather and Barry. They've just left a senior prom. Heather and Barry got into some kind of bitchy argument, and Heather becomes distracted at one point, thinking that she sees something in the woods. Actually, accidentally crashes into a tree. But that was before an argument where she's seen him kissing somebody else. And this guy's like, oh, I only kissed her once. You know, the most important part of a movie is the intro or the beginning. You're supposed to kick off the movie with a bang to get people into it. And already, all I can say so far with this beginning is that it doesn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And we know that the characters are complete arseholes who can't even act, basically. Showing no emotion. So we're just in the woods driving. I swear she knocks over a post, but carries on driving. Crashes into another car, but carries on driving. But there they're in the middle of these woods. And if I remember correctly, there was a scene where a guy gets out of his car and goes, I'm alright, I'm alright. Then collapses down on the floor, presumed dead. And the girl is like, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? So not only do we get scenes of this movie proving that none of these people can act, they can't even show emotion or what they're doing in a real situation if this was real. You panic your bollocks off, man, if you saw someone collapsed on the floor like that after a crash. But she just basically says, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? With no sadness, no sort of emotion. You know, give us fucking something. Was there also a scene where a guy was running away from this truck after this guy broke some kid's neck? And he's running through the woods and he's saying, Mister, you're scaring me. So this guy's doing the exact same repeat of what the girl was doing. Showing no emotion, showing no signs of being intimidated by a guy that's just suddenly broken this other kid's neck. Couldn't he have just ran into the woods to get away from this guy because the truck can't go through the woods? Couldn't he have just found his own way to get rid of this guy? But no, he keeps on. So we've got a bunch of retards in this movie who can't fucking act or show emotion. Especially after emotion where someone's neck gets broken. A scene where this guy gets out of a car and falls down, presumed dead, and the girl doesn't even know if he's dead or not. You know, they meet this woman in this gas station, I believe. And believe me, this is the only one good thing about the movie. Not her herself, but she flashes her tits at oncoming traffic. She had nice firm tits. And that's basically the only thing that was good about it, because little do we know, take this by surprise, she's one of the villains in this movie. You find that out later in the movie. What a shocker. So the only good thing that she's good for is flashing her tits at oncoming traffic. Shall we not see much of that today? But, you know what I mean? I mean, the first time when we encounter Leatherface is due to him acting like a pussy right off the bat. Because it wasn't the guy or the girl, I can't remember which one it was, but they come around the corner, see Leatherface, they scream, Leatherface screams back and runs away. Isn't Leatherface meant to be like some sort of predator? Where he goes after the victim the second he gets noticed or seen? Instead, this Leatherface goes, "Ah!" and runs the fuck the other way. So, congratulations. You've done a good job of turning this horror icon into something very unique, something very scary, all the way to a fucking pussy that runs away from his victims. And then you question yourself halfway through this movie, is this movie a remake? Is it a piss take? Is it a parody? What the fuck is it? Because there's some scenes in this movie where I think to myself, you know, is this actually a remake? Because we see a scene where a girl goes onto a hook, like the victim in the first movie. We see a scene where a girl jumps through a window. We see a scene where a guy gets hit with a hammer, only it's less brutal, it's less scary, and it's less convincing. But he gets hit with a hammer, he falls to the ground. Right. Girl gets away. We find out that woman who flashed her tits at the gas station is indeed the villain, so she brings her back to the house. And then we see Leatherface with the most cheapest looking mask you'll ever see in your fucking life. A mask that you'd find just for a couple of pounds in a Halloween shop. I swear to God, it's like fake plastic with lipstick smeared all over it. So you think to yourself, okay, is he a transvestite? You know, is he some sort of fucking homosexual now? We've got Leatherface who's screaming like a bitch, running away. And now it wants to be a woman. What the fuck happened? You know, there's several scenes in this movie which I can only remember for being so bad it was. I don't think I've actually seen this movie properly all the way through, but I recapped some of the videos on YouTube, and believe me, it hit me like a fucking bus when this came back. I was like to myself, how the fuck could I have forgot about this movie? How the fuck could I have forgot about it? Because it was that bad, you're bound to remember it. Especially when it belongs in a franchise for something like this. Like I said, this movie should have been a standalone movie. It was great for what it was. It had a great ending, great acting, great performances. Everything about this movie was great. I can't recap not one thing that was bad about this movie. You know? And in this movie, who directed this piece of shit anyway? Kim Henkel. He also produced it along with Robert Kuhn. And it was written by Kim Henkel as well. Didn't he do some sort of writing for part 1? I'm going to check that out right now while I'm online. Because this is just so fucking unbelievable how this movie has fucking turned out. The original. Okay. Let me look in the written sort by. I swear one of the... Yeah, story by Kim Henkel. He did the story of this movie. And according for what else I read, he made this movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, thinking it was the better version. Because he thought part 2 and part 3 were both abysmal, so he made this movie. What the fuck was this guy smoking? So... what the fuck? So Kim, let me get this straight right now. I'm looking at you right in the eyes right now. Right? You're telling me that your version of Leatherface, your creativity, your ideas were far more superior than this right here. This right here, this classic. You thought your opinions mattered more? You thought your ideas were more superior? You thought your vision was more superior than this movie? And you think your movie is a masterpiece compared to part 2 and part 3? I tell you, someone would say you need a right good dick slapped in the face. Let me correct that. What you need is some fucking pussy, my friend. You will never make me believe in a million fucking years that this fucking god-awful piece of shit of a movie is more superior than part 2 and part 3, and your visions and ideas and creativity is better than this movie. Get the fuck out. You know, I consider Leatherface an all-time masterpiece of a horror icon. He goes from that all the way to something like this. So, congratulations, mate. You've really turned this guy into something outstanding, haven't you? With your vision of what it should be. I don't know what really I can say. This movie, I'm surprised this movie hasn't been fucking banned due to its fucking pussified, whatever the words are to describe it. But mind you, I don't think even words have been invented to describe this movie. It's that fucking horrendous. Horrendous piece of shit. Some bits are coming back to me when I first viewed it for the first time, but I care not to remember them, even though it's so bad. I don't think it's even a guilty pleasure movie. I really don't think it is. I don't think it's even a guilty pleasure movie. It just pisses you off up to the point where you just want to stick it in the trash, set a light to it, wipe it with your arse. Might kill your arsehole a bit, wouldn't it? But I don't think even the flush mechanism of the toilet could even handle this movie. So, I don't know if you're expecting credit or some appreciation for this movie, Kim Henkel, but I hear you've been a masterpiece when it comes to other movies, but this movie, what the fuck was you thinking? I don't know if your intention was to deliberately bury this franchise or what, but you fucking failed miserably if you wanted it to be something out of your own greater imagination. I mean, we've got Renee Zellweger as Jenny, Matthew McCarthy as Vilma Slaughter, Robert Jacks plays the Junior Slaughter, aka Leatherface. Basically, it's the Slaughter family that's in this. Tony Perkins and Joe Stevens also starred in this as well. But you know, you got all the. How the fuck can a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film start off in a prom scene? A prom scene with these kids who don't give a shit if their partner's kissing somebody else. A scene where we get an horrendous scene in the woods, not knowing if someone's dead, and the people are showing lack of emotion. A scene where a guy's neck gets broken, but the other guy doesn't really give a shit about it, but tries his best to express his emotion, but fails miserably. A woman flashing her tits at oncoming traffic, which is nothing wrong with her. I wish there was more women like her in this world. But my point is, you don't put it in a fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And now we've got Leatherface, who was supposed to take seriously, has now become a fucking pussy who runs the other way as soon as he sees his victims. Well, usually I like to end my horror franchises with a bang. Sometimes I like to end them with knowing that we've had great memories. It's just a shame this movie was shat on from start to finish due to that horrible sequel known as Part 4. No, I won't review the beginning. I won't review the remake. You know, I won't review any of those movies. This is how I like to remember Leatherface. Rest in peace, my friend. I'm sure Gunnar Hansen will be turning in his grave. at part 4. Legendary film. It's just a shame it ended the way it did, and they keep making prequels and sequels to this movie, trying to alter what they did wrong. But that was wrong. But damage has already been done. But you know, they couldn't even get the release date right. That's how bad this movie is. And the leading actors didn't even want to. We didn't want people to know that they actually made this movie until they became major stars. So what does that tell you? Sorry I've had to end it like this, everybody. But if you want any last suggestions, please stay away from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. Please stay away from it. If you want to remember this horror icon, if you want to remember this legendary franchise, you remember it by the first film only. I'm not saying don't check out part 2 and 3. Check them out and give your opinions, but you stay clear from fucking part 4. Don't even attempt to try it. The 5 minutes of that film is complete diarrhea. You know you're not going to fucking like the characters from the first 5 minutes entry into the movie, because there's nothing memorable about it at all, apart from the woman's tits actually flashed at oncoming traffic. But just skip it. I don't know the exact number, but skip it on your DVD or Blu-ray player to the best bit, and then turn the fucking thing off. You know, even the credits weren't even good enough for this movie. So there you go, everybody. I'll keep updated on what comes next. But thanks for watching this rant, and see where we go from here. This movie fucking sucked. Peace.